His name, Pablo Escobar, a name that reverberated through the streets of Colombia, a name that became synonymous with both fear and fascination, a name that sent shivers down spines and ignited whispers in hushed tones. In every corner of the country, from bustling cities to remote villages, his name was spoken with a mix of dread and awe. He was the king of cocaine, a phantom who ruled a vast, invisible empire built on a foundation of white powder and crimson blood. His reach extended far beyond the borders of Colombia, infiltrating the very fabric of global society. From the slums of Medellin to the corridors of power, his influence was inescapable, his grip on Colombia absolute. Politicians, law enforcement, and ordinary citizens alike found themselves ensnared in his web of corruption and violence. The world knew him as a ruthless criminal, a narco-terrorist who held a nation hostage. His actions sparked international outrage and led to a relentless pursuit by authorities determined to bring him to justice. But within the impoverished neighborhoods he claimed as his own, he was a savior, a provider who understood their plight. He built schools, hospitals, and housing for the poor, earning their loyalty and admiration. Escobar's story is not one of black and white, but a chilling tapestry woven from shades of gray. His duality made him a complex figure, both revered and reviled, a man whose legacy continues to spark debate and intrigue. He was a man who embodied contradictions, a devoted family man who orchestrated massacres, a benefactor who trafficked in death. His life was a paradox, a blend of compassion and cruelty that left an indelible mark on history. His life, a testament to the seductive allure of power and the devastating consequences of unchecked ambition. Escobar's rise and fall serve as a cautionary tale of how absolute power can corrupt absolutely. This is the story of Pablo Escobar, the man who built an empire on cocaine, a man who brought a nation to its knees, and a man whose legend continues to fascinate and horrify the world. His legacy is a haunting reminder of the thin line between hero and villain, and the enduring impact one man can have on the course of history. Born into poverty in rural Colombia, Pablo Escobar's early life was marked by hardship and struggle. The small village where he grew up was a place where opportunities were scarce, and dreams often remained just that, dreams. Pablo Escobar's early life was a far cry from the opulent extravagance he would later come to embody. As a young boy, he witnessed the harsh realities of life in Medellin, a city that was itself grappling with poverty and inequality. He hustled on the streets of Medellin, a city teeming with desperation and opportunity. From a young age, Escobar learned to navigate the bustling markets and crowded streets, always on the lookout for ways to make a quick buck. His ambition was boundless, his hunger for wealth insatiable. Escobar was not content with merely surviving. He wanted to thrive, to rise above the circumstances of his birth. His drive and determination set him apart from his peers. He started small, a petty thief navigating the city's underbelly. Stealing cars, selling contraband cigarettes, and running small-time scams were just the beginning. These early ventures taught him valuable lessons about risk and reward. But Escobar was destined for greater things, his sights set on a prize far more lucrative and infinitely more dangerous: cocaine. The burgeoning drug trade in Colombia presented an opportunity that was too tempting to resist. The nascent drug trade provided the perfect opportunity for a young man with a keen eye for profit and an even keener disregard for the law. Escobar quickly realized that the potential for wealth in the drug trade far exceeded anything he had ever imagined. Escobar saw a chance to rise above the squalor of his upbringing, to seize control of his destiny. He was determined to transform his life and the lives of those around him, no matter the cost. He abandoned the petty for the profound, immersing himself in the world of drug trafficking. The risks were enormous, but so were the rewards. Escobar's operations grew rapidly, and so did his reputation. He was a natural, his charisma and ruthlessness setting him apart in a world where survival depended on both. Escobar's rise to power was swift and brutal, marking the beginning of a criminal empire that would leave an indelible mark on history. The 1970s witnessed the ascent of Pablo Escobar from a small-time smuggler to a drug lord of unprecedented power. Born in Rio Negro, Colombia, Escobar's early life was marked by petty crimes and ambitions that far exceeded his humble beginnings. He quickly realized the potential of the burgeoning cocaine trade and seized the opportunity with ruthless efficiency. He united a loose confederation of traffickers, forming the notorious Medellin cartel. This coalition of criminals was not just a business venture, but a tightly knit brotherhood bound by mutual interests and a shared vision of immense wealth and power. Under his leadership, the cartel evolved into a sophisticated criminal enterprise, a well-oiled machine capable of producing and transporting unimaginable quantities of cocaine to the insatiable markets of the United States. The logistics were mind-boggling, involving fleets of planes, boats, and an intricate network of smugglers who risked everything for a share of the profits. Escobar's genius lay not just in his business acumen, but in his understanding of power. He was a master manipulator who knew how to leverage fear, loyalty, and charisma to maintain control over his empire. His ability to inspire both dread and devotion was unparalleled. He knew that true control stemmed not from fear alone, but from a perverse sense of loyalty. Escobar was adept at creating a network of dependents who saw him as their benefactor, a man who could provide for them in ways the government never could. He cultivated an image as a man of the people, a benefactor who used his ill-gotten gains to build homes, fund hospitals, and elevate the impoverished communities that embraced him as a savior. This duality of his character made him both loved and feared, a complex figure who could be both ruthless and generous. He was a Robin Hood of the slums, a dangerous illusion that masked the brutality of his reign. While he provided for the poor, he also orchestrated violence on an unprecedented scale, leaving a legacy that is both revered and reviled. The story of Pablo Escobar and the Medellin cartel is a stark reminder of the thin line between heroism and villainy. The streets of Colombia ran red with the blood of those who dared to defy Pablo Escobar's iron rule. He waged war against anyone who stood in his way: politicians, journalists, rival drug lords. His weapon of choice: terror. Car bombs ripped through crowded city streets, assassinations became commonplace, and a climate of fear permeated every level of Colombian society. Escobar's reign of terror reached its zenith with the bombing of Avianca Flight 203 in 1989. His intended target, a presidential candidate, escaped the blast. But over 100 innocent lives were extinguished in an instant, a chilling testament to the depths of his depravity. The world watched in horror, finally comprehending the true extent of Escobar's ruthlessness.